Gather round, for I have a tale that winds through the corridors of everyday life. A tale so intricate and layered that beneath its surface of ordinary settings lies a labyrinth of passion, betrayal, and peril. This is the story of Lena, a gentle soul with quiet determination, whose days were spent under the fluorescent hum of a bustling supermarket, and whose nights were filled with the soft echo of dreams and doubts. But within the rhythms of her simple life, fate was preparing a drama that would shatter her world and ultimately reshape her very being. Lena's mornings began before the sun had a chance to greet the world. In the pre-dawn stillness, while the dew still clung to the grass outside her modest apartment, she would lace up her worn sneakers and head toward the supermarket where she worked. Every detail of that place was etched into her memory. The familiar squeak of the sliding doors, the rhythmic beep of the cash register, even the gentle murmur of fellow workers sharing small confidences during slow hours. The supermarket was not just a workplace. It was the stage upon which her life's ordinary dramas played out, day after day, until one seemingly inconsequential moment unraveled everything. Lena's husband, Darren, had once seemed a beacon of reliability in her otherwise uneventful existence. With his charming smile and easy laughter, he had swept her off her feet during those early, uncertain days of love. But as time passed, subtle fissures began to appear in their once solid foundation. Darren, handsome and persuasive, carried with him an air of restless ambition, an ambition that would soon lead him astray. The woman at the heart of this tale, Lena, harbored a quiet strength that many overlooked. Yet beneath her unassuming exterior burned an inner light that had long been overshadowed by her devotion to the family they had built together. It was on an unusually warm afternoon, when the air seemed to shimmer with hidden possibilities, that Lena first sensed something amiss. Amid the familiar bustle of the supermarket aisles, as she restocked shelves with fresh produce and arranged colorful displays, a subtle shift in her husband's demeanor had begun to cast long shadows over her heart. Darren's smile, once tender and reassuring, now carried a secretive gleam. His eyes, even in moments of shared laughter, sometimes flickered away, as if seeking solace in distant thoughts. It was a look that hinted at forbidden pleasures and unspoken transgressions, and Lena's intuition, honed by years of silent observations, whispered that something was terribly wrong. The seed of suspicion was planted slowly, nurtured by small, seemingly innocuous details. A mysterious text message glimpsed on Darren's phone, a furtive conversation in a hushed tone, an evening spent out with vague excuses. Lena's mind churned with questions, each one leading her down a winding path of uncertainty and dread. She recalled the day Darren had insisted on an impromptu visit to the ice cream shop around the corner, a quaint, pastel-colored haven that had always been the epitome of carefree joy in their town. The shop was run by a vivacious young woman named Marissa, whose bright eyes and infectious laughter could transform an ordinary cone of vanilla into an experience of pure delight. But to Lena, Marissa was no longer just an innocent purveyor of sweet treats. She had become the unwitting symbol of betrayal, a living reminder that the man she loved was straying into dangerous, unfamiliar territory. As days turned to weeks, Lena's suspicions crystallized into painful certainty. One humid evening, as the neon lights of the supermarket glowed like distant stars in the twilight, Lena decided to follow her instincts. The quiet determination that had always defined her now propelled her into the unknown. She left the safety of her routine and embarked on a quest to uncover the truth about Darren's late-night rendezvous. Her heart pounded in her chest as she trailed him through the winding streets of their sleepy town, each step echoing the beat of her trepidation. Shadows danced under the streetlights as she followed Darren to that very ice cream shop, a place that, until now, had been a cheerful escape for many on hot summer days. Inside the shop, the atmosphere was deceptively light. Soft music played in the background, and the air was fragrant with the mingling scents of fresh waffle cones and sugary delights. Yet, for Lena, every detail took on a sinister tone. There behind the counter, was Marissa, radiant and seemingly carefree, engaging in animated conversation with Darren. Their laughter, soft and conspiratorial, sent shivers down Lena's spine. In that moment, the vibrant colors of the shop blurred into a monochrome landscape of despair and disbelief. Lena felt the sting of betrayal like 1,000 tiny needles pricking her soul. It was a betrayal that went far beyond the simple act of infidelity. It was the unraveling of a shared history, the shattering of dreams built over years of quiet trust. For nights thereafter, Lena's sleep was haunted by restless dreams. In those dreams, she wandered through endless corridors of memories, each a vivid snapshot of moments when love and trust had intertwined, only to be ripped apart by the cruelty of deceit. Every laugh, every whispered promise, now echoed with a hollow resonance, a painful reminder of what had been lost. And yet, in the depths of her despair, a spark of resolve began to kindle. Lena knew that she could no longer remain a silent victim of fate. The quiet woman who once believed that life was simply a series of mundane days was now awakened to the truth that the heart is capable of both deep sorrow and fierce resilience. Thus began Lena's journey, a quest for truth, redemption, and perhaps even revenge. The supermarket, once her haven of predictability, transformed into a crucible where her emotions simmered and boiled. She began to observe not only the customers who came and went, but also her colleagues, each with their own secret stories and hidden sorrows. In the rhythmic hum of daily routines, Lena discovered unexpected allies, a coworker with a mysterious past, a kindly elderly janitor whose eyes seemed to hold the weight of unspoken histories, and even a quiet manager who, behind a veneer of efficiency, concealed a heart burdened with regrets. Each person she encountered became a thread in the tapestry of her new life, a life that was rapidly morphing into a tale of intrigue, danger, and unexpected transformation. The more Lena delved into the undercurrents of her town, the more she uncovered. What had begun as a personal tragedy evolved into a complex web of secrets that linked the lives of many. It was as if the quiet facade of the small town had been erected to hide a labyrinth of dark desires and long-held grudges. Rumors, once dismissed as idle gossip, gained substance and weight. There were whispers of illicit dealings, of clandestine meetings in the dead of night, and of past wounds that had never fully healed. Lena's investigation led her to unexpected places: a forgotten diary in the back room of the supermarket, cryptic notes tucked away in the margins of utility bills, even overheard snippets of conversation that hinted at connections between Darren, Marissa, and a shadowy figure whose identity remained shrouded in mystery. One evening, as the autumn wind howled through the deserted streets and the world outside turned a somber shade of gray, Lena found herself face-to-face with a truth that threatened to upend everything she had known. In a dimly lit parking lot behind the supermarket, she encountered a man whose eyes burned with a feverish intensity. His name was Victor, a rugged, enigmatic figure who appeared to be as much a part of the night as the creeping mist. Victor revealed that he, too, had been wronged by the tangled web of deceit spun by Darren. But his story was even more chilling than Lena's. It was a tale of betrayal, revenge, and a desperate quest for justice that had driven him to the very brink of darkness. Victor claimed that Darren's transgressions were merely the tip of an iceberg, a symptom of a deeper, more insidious conspiracy that had its roots in the past. He spoke of secrets buried under layers of lies, of powerful forces manipulating lives for their own gain, and of a destiny that was inexorably intertwined with Lena's own. The revelation left Lena reeling, caught between the desire to believe and the urge to flee from the dangerous implications. Yet, as the night deepened, so too did her resolve. She realized that the only way to reclaim her power was to confront the demons that lurked in the shadows, both within her own heart and in the world around her. With Victor as an unlikely ally, Lena began piecing together the fragments of a puzzle that spanned years, perhaps even decades. The clues led them to hidden corners of the town, a derelict warehouse by the river where hushed conversations and furtive glances betrayed more than mere infidelity. A secretive network of acquaintances who traded in information as if it were currency, and even a series of anonymous messages that hinted at a grander design behind the everyday lives of its citizens. Each discovery added a new layer of complexity to Lena's understanding of her situation. The man she had once loved had not been an isolated betrayer. His actions were part of a larger narrative, one that wove together threads of passion, greed, and long-forgotten vendettas. The ice cream shop, once seen as a cheerful refuge of sugary delight, had become a sinister symbol of temptation and the allure of forbidden pleasures. Marissa, with her bright smile and seemingly carefree demeanor, was now cast in a different light, a pawn in a dangerous game, whose own past was filled with secrets that mirrored Lena's pain. And as Lena's investigation deepened, she began to see the faint outlines of a truth that was as elusive as it was damning. That love, in all its myriad forms, was capable of both extraordinary beauty and devastating cruelty. In the midst of her personal turmoil, Lena found herself grappling with conflicting emotions. There were moments of raw, unfiltered anger, a burning desire to confront Darren and force him to reckon with the consequences of his betrayal. At other times, a quiet sadness would descend upon her, a mourning for the life they had once shared and the promises that had been broken like fragile glass. And then, there were the moments of unexpected tenderness, fleeting encounters with strangers who offered words of comfort and understanding, reminding her that even in the darkest of times, hope could be found in the most unlikely places. It was during one such encounter, amid the gentle clatter of supermarket carts and the soft murmur of routine conversations, that Lena met Elena, a woman whose own experiences of loss and redemption resonated deeply with her. Elena, with her wise eyes and empathetic smile, became not only a friend, but also a mirror, reflecting back the strength that Lena had long forgotten she possessed. As days bled into nights, Lena's inner transformation was mirrored by the shifting tides of the external world. The investigation took on a life of its own, spiraling into a complex dance of alliances and betrayals. With each new revelation, Lena found herself drawn deeper into a vortex of secrets, a swirling maelstrom that threatened to consume her entirely. There were narrow escapes and heart-stopping confrontations, instances where the line between friend and foe blurred in a haze of uncertainty. The very town that had once offered the comfort of familiarity now seemed fraught with hidden dangers. Every corner held the potential for a new twist, every face a mask concealing ulterior motives. In one particularly tense moment, as rain lashed the windows of an abandoned diner where Lena and Victor had taken refuge, a confrontation erupted that would change everything. In the flickering light of a single neon sign, Victor revealed that Darren had been entangled in a far more dangerous liaison than anyone had imagined. Darren's betrayal was not merely an act of infidelity. It was part of a broader scheme orchestrated by an underground syndicate that had its claws in every facet of the town's affairs. The revelation sent shockwaves through Lena's already shattered world. The man she had trusted with her heart had unwittingly become a cog in a machine driven by greed and malice, a machine that threatened not only her future, but the lives of countless innocents. Yet even as the storm of revelations raged around her, Lena clung to a singular, stubborn hope. She resolved that she would no longer be a passive victim of fate. With each step, she shed the layers of sorrow and disillusionment that had weighed her down for so long. Her quest for truth evolved into a mission not only to expose the dark forces that had manipulated her life, but also to reclaim her own identity. It was a transformation wrought not only by pain, but by the quiet determination that had always resided within her. Lena learned to navigate the treacherous labyrinth of deceit with newfound confidence, her every action a deliberate step toward liberation. The tension in the air was palpable as Lena's path converged with that of Marissa, the woman whose presence had once ignited feelings of envy and bitterness. In a charged encounter at the ice cream shop, now a battleground of unspoken accusations and raw emotion. Lena found herself locked in a silent duel of glances with Marissa. There was no need for harsh words. The truth, as unvarnished as it was, hung heavy between them. In that charged silence, Lena sensed a kindred spirit, a reflection of her own struggles and the scars left by betrayal. Marissa, it turned out, was not merely the willing participant in Darren's infidelity, but a woman caught in the crossfire of circumstances much larger than either of them. Their shared pain forged an unexpected bond, one that blurred the lines between victim and accomplice, forging a path toward an uncertain redemption. As the web of intrigue tightened, Lena discovered that the answers she sought were hidden in the most unlikely of places. In an abandoned storage room at the back of the supermarket, tucked behind dusty boxes and forgotten relics, she stumbled upon a collection of letters and photographs, silent testaments to a past marred by secrets and lies. The letters, penned in a delicate, flowing script, spoke of love lost and promises broken, of a family torn apart by circumstances beyond control. Each faded page carried the weight of histories that had been buried beneath layers of time, offering Lena a glimpse into the origins of a syndicate that now threatened to destroy everything she held dear. With every revelation, the stakes grew higher, and the path forward became increasingly treacherous. Yet, amid the darkness and the ever-present danger, there emerged moments of unexpected beauty. A stolen smile, a gentle touch, a spark of genuine connection that reminded Lena of the inherent resilience of the human heart. One chilly winter evening, as the first snowflakes of the season danced in the glow of street lamps, Lena found herself sharing a quiet conversation with an old friend from her youth. In that intimate exchange, over cups of steaming coffee in a tiny, warmly lit cafe, she rediscovered a passion for life that had long lain dormant. The friend spoke of dreams deferred but never forgotten, of the courage it took to rebuild one's life in the aftermath of heartache. That conversation became a turning point, a reaffirmation that even when the world seemed intent on crushing one's spirit, there was always a spark of hope waiting to be ignited. Determined to confront Darren and the network of deceit that had ensnared her, Lena began to gather the scattered pieces of evidence, each one a fragment of a larger, dangerous mosaic. The investigation led her to shadowy figures lurking in the margins of society, individuals whose lives have been upended by the machinations of power and greed. In hushed tones and secret meetings in darkened parking lots, Lena pieced together a narrative of manipulation and betrayal that extended far beyond her own personal tragedy. The more she uncovered, the more she realized that the forces at play were vast and insidious, capable of toppling lives with the precision of a finely tuned machine. In the midst of this maelstrom, Lena's inner world underwent a profound metamorphosis. No longer was she the timid, unassuming woman confined by the boundaries of a mundane existence. She transformed into a seeker of truth, a warrior armed with resolve and the unyielding belief that justice, however elusive, was worth pursuing. Her once quiet eyes now burned with determination, and her every step resonated with the quiet fury of someone reclaiming her destiny. The town itself, with its narrow alleys and familiar storefronts, became a character in her story, a silent witness to the unfolding drama, its secrets and lies laid bare beneath the relentless march of truth. As days melted into nights and the investigation reached a fevered pitch, Lena found herself standing at a crossroads where every decision carried the weight of life and death. The final confrontation loomed on the horizon, a moment when the tangled threads of passion, betrayal, and revenge would be pulled tight, threatening to snap under the strain of their own complexity. In a climactic encounter that unfolded in a deserted stretch of road under a sky heavy with the promise of a storm, Lena came face to face with Darren. There, beneath the flickering glow of a lone street lamp, the truth was laid bare. Darren's eyes, once filled with false assurances and hidden agendas, now shone with the cold light of a man cornered by his own sins. The confrontation was electric, A collision of raw emotion and desperate pleas, a struggle for power and redemption that left both of them exposed in the harsh glare of reality. In that heart-stopping moment, as the wind whipped around them and the distant rumble of thunder echoed in the night, Lena realized that this was more than just a battle between a betrayed wife and an unfaithful husband. It was a reckoning, a confrontation with every lie, every broken promise, and every shattered dream that had ever haunted her. With a voice that trembled not with fear, but with unyielding resolve, she demanded answers, not only from Darren, but from the forces that had conspired to shape their fates. The night bore witness to tears of sorrow and anger, to confessions uttered in hushed tones and silences that spoke louder than any words. It was a night of reckoning, where every secret was forced into the light, and the fragile boundaries between love and hate blurred into an almost unbearable intensity. Yet, even as the confrontation reached its zenith, fate had yet another twist in store. In the midst of the charged standoff, a figure emerged from the shadows, a figure whose presence had been foretold by the very clues Lena had painstakingly gathered over the preceding months. It was Marissa, the ice cream shop girl, whose eyes held a mixture of remorse and defiance. Her arrival sent shockwaves through the tense tableau. With measured words and a tremor of vulnerability, she revealed that her own involvement was not born solely of desire or betrayal, but rather of a desperate attempt to escape a destiny imposed upon her by forces far more formidable than any one man's whims. Marissa spoke of a past marred by exploitation, of a need for survival that had driven her to choices she never imagined she would have to make. In that moment, the boundaries of right and wrong blurred into a tapestry of human frailty, where every soul was ensnared in a web of circumstance and consequence. The revelations that night rippled through the darkness like a tidal wave, sweeping away the remnants of a carefully constructed facade. Lena, once consumed by the bitter taste of betrayal, found herself grappling with a newfound empathy, a recognition that the lives of all involved were interwoven in a tragic dance of fate. In the raw aftermath of that fateful encounter, as the storm broke overhead and the first heavy drops of rain began to wash away the sins of the night, Lena made a choice. She would no longer be defined solely by her pain. Instead, she would channel her anguish into a force for transformation. The web of deceit that had entangled her life was vast, but within its tangled threads lay the seeds of a future that could be rewritten. In the days that followed, Lena embarked on a journey not only of retribution, but of self-discovery. With Victor's cryptic guidance and Elena's steadfast support, she began to piece together a plan to expose the sinister underbelly of the network that had ensnared Darren, Marissa, and so many others. Every whispered conversation in dark corners, every furtive glance exchanged between figures cloaked in secrecy, became a stepping stone on her path to redemption. The supermarket, once a silent observer of her daily life, transformed into a symbol of resilience, a place where every shelf, every product, was imbued with the quiet determination of a woman who refused to be broken by the cruelty of fate. As the days turned into a blur of clandestine meetings, coded messages, and risky confrontations, Lena's resolve grew stronger. The town, with its quaint storefronts and narrow streets, was now a chessboard upon which powerful players moved unseen, each with their own ambitions and dark secrets. Lena's quest for justice was no longer a solitary endeavor. It was a call to arms for every soul who had ever been wronged, every heart that had been battered by betrayal. Her transformation from the gentle supermarket worker into a determined crusader was marked by moments of doubt, fierce determination, and a rekindling of a long-forgotten inner fire. Under the oppressive weight of secrets and danger, Lena learned to trust her instincts once more. Every step she took was a deliberate act of defiance against the forces that had sought to control her destiny. The thrill of uncovering hidden truths, the adrenaline of close encounters in dimly lit alleyways, and the quiet satisfaction of outwitting those who had underestimated her. All these elements merged into a symphony of suspense and passion that echoed in the depths of her soul. In a world where love could both heal and destroy, Lena discovered that the path to liberation was paved with the courage to confront one's own vulnerabilities. And so, as the final pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, Lena prepared for one ultimate confrontation, a reckoning with the very heart of the conspiracy that had upended her life. The tension in the air was electric, charged with the promise of a resolution that would redefine not only her destiny, but that of every life touched by the dark tendrils of deceit. In the shadow of an abandoned factory on the edge of town, where the rusted bones of machinery whispered secrets of a bygone era, Lena faced her adversaries. There, in a moment that felt both timeless and transient, she confronted Darren once more. This time, however, it was not merely about the betrayal of a single marriage. It was about reclaiming her dignity, exposing the web of lies that had entangled so many, and finding the strength to rise anew from the ashes of heartbreak. In that fateful encounter, emotions surged like a torrential river. Darren, his eyes haunted by regret and the weight of his own misdeeds, was forced to reckon with the consequences of a life lived in denial. The air crackled with unspoken truths and the raw, unfiltered pain of betrayal. Lena's voice, steady and resolute, recounted the litany of evidence she had gathered, each detail a testament to the unyielding spirit of a woman who had refused to be silenced by her sorrow. The confrontation, long and harrowing, unfolded as a cathartic release, a moment when every lie was stripped away, leaving only the naked, undeniable truth in its place. As dawn broke over the horizon, casting a pale light upon the remnants of that turbulent night, Lena emerged from the confrontation forever changed. The journey that had begun in quiet despair had transformed into a fierce odyssey of self-empowerment and renewal. The secrets of the past, once shrouded in darkness, now lay exposed under the scrutiny of truth. Lena understood that while the scars of betrayal might never fully fade, they were also a testament to the strength of the human spirit, a spirit that, even in the face of overwhelming odds, could find the courage to stand tall and reclaim its own destiny. Thus, as the sun rose over a town forever altered by the ripples of deceit, Lena stepped forward into a future that, while uncertain, promised the possibility of healing and new beginnings. Her story, one of love, suspense, betrayal, and ultimately redemption, became a beacon for those who had suffered in silence. It served as a reminder that within every act of heartbreak lies the potential for rebirth, and that even when life seems to conspire against you, the power to forge a new path lies deep within your own heart. And so, dear listener, the tale of Lena, the woman from the supermarket, the betrayed wife who transformed her pain into strength, echoes through the corridors of time. It is a story of resilience and transformation, of secrets unveiled and lives forever changed by the unyielding pursuit of truth. In the quiet moments that follow the storm, when the echoes of past betrayals slowly recede into memory, Lena's journey stands as a testament to the indomitable human spirit, a spirit that, even in the face of unspeakable heartache, finds the courage to love again, to trust again, and ultimately, to believe that redemption is always within reach. Her tale, spun with the threads of suspense and the vibrant hues of passion, remains a living narrative, a story that continues to grow with every whispered secret, every unexpected encounter, and every brave step taken toward a future where the light of truth banishes the shadows of deceit. And though the journey was long and fraught with peril, Lena emerged not as a victim of her circumstances, but as a triumphant heroine, a living reminder that even when the world seems determined to break you, you have the power to rise, to fight, and to reclaim the beauty that lies hidden beneath the surface of everyday life. As you sit with this story, allow its echoes to remind you that every moment is a crossroads, every heartbreak a chance to rebuild, and every secret waiting to be unveiled is an invitation to discover the hidden strength within yourself. For in the tapestry of life, woven with threads of love and betrayal, hope and despair. It is the courage to confront the darkest truths that ultimately lights the way to a brighter, more resilient tomorrow. The story continues to breathe with the pulse of a town steeped in mystery, with lives intertwined by fate and choices made in moments of desperate clarity. Lena's journey, though marked by pain, has become a symbol of transformation, a living chronicle of a woman who dared to face the monstrous specters of her past and, in doing so, discovered a truth more radiant than the brightest dawn. Her heart, once shattered by the cruelty of betrayal, now beat with the steady rhythm of renewal and possibility. And as the winds of change swept through the quiet streets of that unassuming town, every soul who had witnessed her struggle felt a stirring of hope, a whisper that even in the deepest shadows, the light of redemption could be found. In that unyielding spirit of truth and transformation, Lena's legacy was forged, a legacy that defied the ordinary and soared on the wings of a relentless desire for justice. And as the days melded into months and the scars of the past gradually softened into memories, the story of the supermarket worker and the ice cream shop enchantress grew into a timeless legend. It was a story not confined to the pages of any book or the fleeting echoes of a single night, but a saga that lived on in the hearts of all who dared to dream of a future unburdened by the weight of yesterday's mistakes. So let this tale be a beacon in the darkness, a reminder that within every betrayal lies the seed of a new beginning, and within every shattered heart, the possibility of a love reborn. May you, dear listener, carry with you the strength to confront your own demons, the courage to embrace your truths, and the unwavering belief that even in the face of profound loss, redemption and renewal are never beyond reach. For the journey of Lena, the gentle yet indomitable spirit who rose from the ruins of deceit, is a story for the ages, a story that teaches us all that when the night is at its darkest, the promise of dawn is but a heartbeat away. And thus, as the winds of destiny continue to weave their intricate patterns through the tapestry of life, the saga of Lena endures, a living testament to the enduring power of hope, the relentless pursuit of truth, and the infinite capacity of the human heart to heal, to love, and to rise again.